You work hard, you show up early, you stay late. But month after month, your bank account looks the same. You're doing everything right. So, why does it still feel like you're falling behind? Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how much money you earn, it always seems to disappear? Why your debts keep growing even when your income increases? Why that dream of financial freedom feels like it's always one step out of reach? Because here's the harsh truth no one told you in school. If you're just working for money and not doing this one thing, you're going to regret it. Hi, I'm Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I'm going to show you why most people will spend their entire lives chasing money and still end up broke. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're stupid. It's because they were taught to play the game of money backwards. In school, we were told, get good grades, get a good job, save money, buy a house, and retire with a pension. That advice might have worked in 1950, but today? That's a blueprint for financial struggle, and for most people, quiet desperation. Why? Because everything you were taught about money was designed to benefit someone else. The banks want you in debt. Wall Street wants your savings. The government wants your taxes. And the school system, it wants your obedience. No wonder people feel stuck, but there's a way out, a different way of thinking. In this video, I'm going to break down what the rich do differently with their money and why most people will regret not doing this. And here's the kicker. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how you use the money you already have. What I'm about to show you could change your life, but only if you're willing to change how you think. Let's begin. You wake up early. You fight traffic. You give your time, your energy, your focus, all for a paycheck that disappears almost as fast as it arrives. You tell yourself, next month will be better, but it never is. Sound familiar? This is the reality for millions of people. They're not lazy. They're not irresponsible. In fact, many of them are smart, hardworking, and disciplined. But no matter how hard they push, they can't seem to break through. Why? Because they're playing by rules that are designed to keep them stuck. From a young age, we're taught the same script. Go to school, get good grades, find a secure job, work hard, save money, buy a house, retire. It sounds noble, responsible, safe, but it's a lie. A comfortable lie that keeps people trapped in a cycle of dependency. We call it the rat race. You work hard, get paid, spend what you earn, maybe even a little more, and then start all over again next month. You're constantly chasing, never arriving. And the worst part? You've been conditioned to believe that this is normal, that this is how life is supposed to be. Meanwhile, the rich play by a completely different set of rules. They don't work for money, they make money work for them. They don't save dollars that lose value every day. They invest in assets that grow and generate cash flow. While most people are busy trading time for money, the wealthy are buying back their time by building systems that pay them whether they're working or not. Most people will spend their entire lives in this cycle without ever realizing they were set up to fail from the beginning, not by accident, but by design. Because the truth is, the system wasn't built to make you free. It was built to make you obedient. Until you understand that, nothing changes. But once you do, everything can. They told you to save money. That was the golden rule, right? Work hard, live below your means, and tuck your money away in a savings account. One day, you'd be rewarded. That's what they promised. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Saving money is the fastest way to go broke in today's economy. Let's break it down. The money you save is losing value every single day. Not because you're spending it, but because of inflation. That silent thief that chips away at your purchasing power while you sleep. What your dollar could buy 10 years ago, it can't buy today. And in 10 years, it'll be worth even less. Saving money in a bank account that pays you 1% interest, if you're lucky, while inflation runs at 5, 6, even 10%? That's not security. That's financial suicide. But it gets worse. The banking system itself is built on what's called fractional reserve lending. That means when you deposit $1, the bank doesn't keep it safe in a vault. It turns around and lends out $10 using your money. They earn interest. They get richer. You get, what? A thank you and a 0.01% return? You've been tricked into funding the system that keeps you poor. Meanwhile, the banks lend your money to investors who buy real estate, businesses, income-producing assets, the very tools that generate wealth. And you're left saving pennies, praying it'll be enough. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Savers are losers. Not because they're bad people, but because they're following bad advice. The rules have changed, but most people are still playing the old game. You have to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a banker. The rich don't save money. They convert it into assets. They move it into cash flow. They make it work. Because if your money isn't growing, it's dying. And if you keep saving the way your parents did, you'll wake up one day and realize it's all gone. Debt is a 4-letter word that scares most people to death. The moment they hear it, they tighten up, panic, and do everything they can to run in the opposite direction. Why? Because they've been trained to believe all debt is bad, dangerous, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. But that fear doesn't come from truth, it comes from ignorance. The reality is this: debt isn't bad or good. Debt is a tool, and like any tool, it depends on how you use it. Most people use debt to buy things that make them poorer: a new car, a bigger TV, a vacation they can't afford. They borrow money to purchase liabilities, things that take money out of their pocket every month, and then they wonder why they're always broke, buried in payments, and trapped in financial stress. But the rich, they use debt to get richer, not because they're lucky or special, but because they understand how the game works. I've borrowed over $300 million, not to buy cars or clothes or fancy toys, but to buy income-producing real estate, apartment complexes, commercial buildings, properties that send me cash flow every single month. I don't pay for those assets, my tenants do. I collect the income, I keep the equity, and I get massive tax breaks in the process. That's the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt takes money out of your life. Good debt brings money in. The poor borrow to consume. The rich borrow to invest. People say, you shouldn't have debt. Really? Then how do you expect to compete in a system that runs on debt? The government's in debt. Corporations are in debt. Banks use your savings to create more debt. You've been hypnotized to avoid the very tool that the wealthy use to win. Stop fearing debt. Start learning how to use it. Because the moment you understand how to turn debt into cash flow is the moment you stop being a slave to money and start becoming its master. From the first day you walked into a classroom, the system had a plan for you. Sit down, be quiet, memorize, obey. You weren't being trained to think, you were being trained to comply. The school system doesn't exist to create leaders, it exists to manufacture employees, people who follow orders, fear mistakes, and believe that working hard for a paycheck is the highest path to success. But here's the truth. School teaches you how to pass tests, not how to build wealth. You spent years learning algebra, history, and how to diagram a sentence, but not a single class on taxes, credit, cash flow, or building assets. Why? Because the system doesn't want you financially educated. It wants you financially dependent. A good worker, a good saver, a good taxpayer. No financial education means you don't question the game you're playing. You take on student loans without understanding how debt works. You chase promotions instead of freedom. You invest in a retirement plan you don't control, hoping it'll be there in 40 years. And when it doesn't work out, you blame yourself, never realizing you were set up from the start. I watched my poor dad, a highly educated man with a PhD, work himself into the ground believing the system would take care of him. It didn't. He followed the rules and still ended up broke. Meanwhile, my rich dad, who never finished 8th grade, taught me the rules of money the schools refused to teach. He taught me using Monopoly, not textbooks. 4 green houses, 1 red hotel. That was my education. The moment you start questioning what you were taught in school is the moment your real financial education begins. You can stay in the system, obey the rules, and hope for the best. Or you can open your eyes, study money, and take control of your future. But make no mistake, school won't do it for you. If you want to be rich, you'll have to unlearn everything they drilled into you and start learning what the wealthy have known all along. The rich don't save money, they build with it. While most people are trying to hold on to every dollar, terrified of losing what little they have, the rich are putting their money to work. They understand something most people never learn. Money is a tool, not a trophy. It's not something to protect. It's something to multiply. When the average person gets a raise, they think, what can I buy? A bigger house, a newer car, a more expensive lifestyle. That money is gone before it ever has a chance to grow. But when the rich get $1, they think, how do I turn this into an asset? Not a liability, not something flashy, something that pays them every month. That's the game. They buy income-producing real estate. They invest in gold and silver. They build businesses. They acquire royalties from intellectual property, books, patents, online courses, things that keep spitting out cash flow whether they're working or not. That's the secret, cash flow. Most people are chasing capital gains. They want to buy something for $100 and sell it for $200. That's a one-time win, and it's taxed hard. They flip houses, they flip stocks, and they keep flipping just to stay ahead. But the rich focus on cash flow. Steady, predictable streams of income that come in month after month. Apartment rent, business profits, royalties, dividends. That's how they build wealth that lasts. That's how they escape the grind of trading time for money. Cash flow gives you freedom. Capital gains give you a moment. That's why when I make money from my books, I don't celebrate. I leverage it. I take the royalties and I buy real estate. Then I refinance that real estate and buy even more. That's the cycle. That's how you scale wealth. If you want to think like the rich, stop asking, how much can I save? And start asking, how many assets can I build? Because the people who focus on saving will always be afraid of running out. But the people who focus on building, they know the money will never stop coming. Most people aren't chasing wealth, they're chasing status, and they don't even realize it. They work harder, get a raise, and immediately reward themselves with a new car, a fancier phone, a bigger house, or a luxury vacation they'll be paying off for the next 5 years. It feels like progress. It looks like success. But it's a trap. One that keeps them stuck in the same cycle year after year, paycheck after paycheck. This is what's called lifestyle creep. As income goes up, so does spending. You were fine with your old car until your neighbor got a better one. You were content with your apartment until Instagram convinced you that granite countertops and a pool were must-haves. And so the cycle continues. More income, more spending, more debt. But no wealth. The middle class makes the critical mistake of buying liabilities thinking they're assets. They buy a house and call it an investment, ignoring the taxes, maintenance, and the fact that it doesn't pay them a dime. They finance a brand new car, convinced it's a smart purchase because of fuel efficiency, never realizing it lost thousands the moment they drove it off the lot. They define success by how much they spend, not how much they keep. Now contrast that with Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on earth. He still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. Not because he can't afford something nicer, but because he understands what most people never will. Wealth isn't about what you show, it's about what you build. The rich don't care about impressing strangers. They care about cash flow, equity, and freedom. The moment you stop trying to look rich and start trying to be rich, everything changes. You stop asking, what can I afford? And start asking, what will this produce? You stop spending to impress others and start investing to free yourself. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need to be flaunted. It just grows, slowly, steadily, silently, while the world keeps chasing shadows. Most people make the same mistake every month. They get paid and immediately start spending. Bills, rent, food, gas, a few dinners out, maybe a new gadget if there's room. And if anything's left over, they tell themselves they'll save or invest what's left. But there's never anything left. Sound familiar? That's why the rich live by a different rule. Pay yourself first. Before they spend a single dollar, they invest. Not after, not someday. First. This simple principle separates those who build wealth from those who stay stuck, no matter how much they earn. It's not about how big your paycheck is. It's about what you do with it. Let me tell you about two people. They earn the exact same salary. One pays their bills first, spends a little on lifestyle, and hopes to save what's left. The other sets aside 10% the moment their money hits the account. Doesn't matter if it's $100 or $1,000, it's non-negotiable. That money is invested before anything else. Fast forward 10 years. One has nothing but memories of things they bought and bills they barely kept up with. The other? They've built a growing portfolio of assets. A small rental property. Dividend stocks. Maybe even a side business. Their money is working for them now. They're not just earning, they're building. That's the power of paying yourself first. It's not about the amount. It's about the habit, the discipline, the mindset. Even if you start with 5%, even if you start with $20, what matters is that you're planting seeds that will grow. Every time you choose to invest in your future before spending in the present, you're shifting the balance of power. You're saying, I'm not just working for money, I'm making money work for me. And if you do it long enough, consistently enough, one day you'll wake up and realize you've bought your freedom. All because you decided to pay the most important person in your life first. You. Most people only know one way to make money, trade their time for it. They wake up, go to work, clock in, clock out, and get paid. And if they don't work, they don't earn. It's called active income. And it's a trap, because time is limited. Your energy is limited. You can't scale it. You can't multiply it. And you definitely can't buy your freedom with it. That's why the rich focus on something else entirely. Assets that work while they sleep. A real asset doesn't require you to be present. It doesn't need you to show up every day. It doesn't care if you're sick, tired, or on vacation. It keeps working, 24/7, in the background, spitting out cash flow whether you're awake or not. So what does that look like? It could be a rental property that sends you a check every month while your tenants pay down the mortgage. It could be dividend-paying stocks that reward you just for owning a piece of a profitable business. It could be a digital course, a YouTube channel, an ebook, or any product that sells over and over without needing you to lift a finger after it's created. It could be royalties from music, intellectual property, or licensing deals that pay you long after the work is done. These are the income streams that change lives, not because they make you rich overnight, but because they free you from the chains of time. Passive income is the secret to real wealth. It's the bridge between surviving and thriving, and once you understand it, your mindset shifts. You stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I create income that doesn't need me? Because here's the truth. If your money depends on your effort, your freedom has a ceiling. But if you build assets that work without you, you can grow forever. While others are sleeping, their money is idle. But yours? It's just getting started. There's a silent clock ticking, and most people don't even hear it. They think they have time. Time to figure it out. Time to start saving. Time to get serious about investing. They tell themselves, I'll start next year, or when things settle down, or once I make a little more. But while they wait, the world is changing fast, and not in their favor. Inflation is eroding the value of your money every single day. Debt is piling up at levels we've never seen before. The cost of living is climbing, and the rules of the game are shifting in real time. What used to be enough isn't, and what used to work doesn't. Most people will only realize the truth when it's too late. They'll look back and wish they started sooner. When interest rates were lower, when real estate was still affordable, when that side hustle idea still had space in the market. They'll regret waiting for the perfect time instead of creating it. They'll regret trying to play it safe while the system quietly pushed them toward instability. Here's the harsh reality. The next crash isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it hits, it won't be gentle. Those with assets will survive. Many will thrive. But those who waited? They'll be left scrambling. The best time to build assets was yesterday. The second best time is right now. It doesn't matter if you start small. What matters is that you start. Because every day you wait, you're not just missing opportunity, you're losing ground. The people who come out on top are the ones who act, not the ones who hope. So ask yourself, when the storm comes, and it will come, will you be standing on solid ground? Or will you still be telling yourself there's more time? The window is closing. Don't be one of the ones who says, I should have. Be one of the few who says, thank God I did. Here's the truth most people never hear. You don't need to be born rich to become rich. You don't need a trust fund, a lucky break, or some magical talent. What you need is a shift. Not in your job, not in your income, but in your mindset. The biggest difference between the rich and everyone else isn't how much they make, it's how they think about money. The poor and middle class are taught to work for money, to chase it, trade their time for it, worry about it, save it, obey it. They spend their whole lives trapped by it. But the rich, they flip the script. They make money work for them. They see every dollar as an employee, a little worker that should go out into the world and bring back more. They don't spend their lives earning. They build. Assets, cash flow, systems. They understand that wealth isn't about income, it's about freedom. Most people never make that shift. They stay stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same behaviors, following the same broken advice, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But here's the wake-up call. The system is not broken, it's rigged. And the only way out is to stop playing by its rules. Stop spending like the middle class. Stop saving like the poor. Stop believing that security comes from a paycheck. Start investing. Start learning. Start questioning. Start building. Not next year, not someday, now. Because there's a storm coming. The economy is changing. The world is moving faster than ever, and most people will regret not doing this, not thinking differently, until it's too late. But you? You don't have to be one of them. You can decide today to think like the rich, to act like an investor, to build like a capitalist. The choice is simple. Stay in the rat race or escape it. Keep working for money or start making money work for you. You don't need to wait for permission. You just need to decide. And once you do, you'll never look at money the same way again. If this message shook something in you, good. That means you're waking up. Most people will keep doing what they've always done. They'll keep saving dying dollars. They'll keep trading time for money. They'll keep chasing status instead of building real wealth. And one day, they'll look back with regret, wondering why no one told them the truth. But you heard it. And now the question is, what are you going to do with it? You don't have to start big. You don't need millions. You just need a new mindset and a decision to stop thinking like the poor and middle class. Because the path to financial freedom doesn't start with more income, it starts with better decisions. Buy assets, not liabilities. Use debt to build, not consume. Pay yourself first. Make your money work while you sleep. Learn what the schools never taught you, and most of all, take action before it's too late. The system was never designed to make you rich, but that doesn't mean you can't be. If you found value in this video, don't just scroll away. Like, share, and subscribe, because this isn't just content. This is the kind of knowledge that can change lives, yours included. And in the comments, let me know, what's one step you're taking today to make money work for you? Until next time, remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how you think and how you build. This is Robert Kiyosaki. Stay smart, stay free, and always stay one step ahead.